Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. My name is Karla Italiano. It does say Hilari in my window, but I'm not Hilari, as you can see. I'm logged into her account. I'm so thrilled, excited, honored to share tonight and do the training. My name is Karla Italiano. I know many of you. I see some new faces. So I'm excited to share with you tonight on the topic of building your business with incentives. And no matter where you're at, this is something that can be beneficial for you. So I am four-star Golden Circle, two-star Crystal Executive. And for many of you, that may sound like a lot of stars and circles and stuff, but I don't want that to intimidate you or close your mind to the training tonight, because I have been doing incentives, meaning giving back to my team for a long time. And I'm going to share with you different ideas on how and why it's so important and why it's so beneficial to invest in your business through incentives. We invest in a lot of ways. And, I think the number one way to invest is in yourself through your own personal development. And then next, it's in your team. So I'm going to share why should we invest in our team? What benefits are there to you? I'm going to share some specific ideas, stuff that we've done that have been very fun that you can implement as well. And then I'm even going to give you some feedback, some actual feedback that I have received from some of my team members who have participated in our incentives in specific ways that it enhanced their business. So this is an exciting week. So I know a lot going on. Raspberry cheesecake shakes tomorrow, if you hadn't heard already. So it's going to be a major week. There's lots of energy. So I'm super pumped to share. So a little bit about me, and one of the reasons why I'm so excited about this area of incentives or prizes or even trips or experiences to my team is that I came from a previous company, a home-based business company, where even though I held a title that is similar in stature as the executive is in Isagenix, I wasn't making nearly the amount of money as I was here. And one thing I found is that when I started to experience the abundance that Isagenix pours out on us, and sometimes we don't even realize that. You may not realize that unless you've been in another company, is that because we tend to compare ourselves, and if you're comparing to somebody else, that can steal your joy. But, compared to where I was experiencing abundance. And it was so fun to go from, in that prior business, trying to buy, like costume jewelry or just, as small as gifts as possible, $1, $2 gifts. Not that there's anything wrong with those, but things that didn't even really excite me, just trying desperately to afford what I could to try to inspire my team. Whereas with Isagenix, I started experiencing abundance, and I found that I was able to invest more into my team. And I feel like it is not only an expression of the abundance, but it has helped create even more, especially when it has come to the trips. And even, you guys, I said I'm a rank of 4-star. Even from the rank of 2-star, I was starting to look at trips for my team, and I just had to get creative with it. And a lot of I'm going to talk about that and how you can make those affordable for you. For some of you, it might be vision casting. For some of you, it's very, very feasible, even before you may think. But I came off of an amazing elite award trip called the President's Quest. And being on President's Quest did several things for me. Specific to these challenges, it put me around leaders, amazing leaders like Laura Stevens and Delray Messer and Lauren Sims and more. And they were doing these amazing award trips for their teams, like, doing all out, paying for their spouse to go, and, room and board and everything. And my gosh, that doesn't make sense for me, but I love that idea. But I was able to get creative and find ways to implement it for us. I'm going to share some of those with you. The other thing that being on that trip did, it just put me in the mindset of what it's like to be a leader. And I think that's the main thing, is if you have in mind where you're going with this business, and I assume if you're on this call, you're at executive or headed towards it, that's your goal. Thinking like a leader means being the leader, not waiting for things to drip down to you, but to step out and do it. So, I got so creative with these incentives, and we've had so much fun with them. And I'll tell you, business-wise, there is nothing better, because what we are all after, the amazing gift, the promise of network marketing that we have, especially with Isagenix, is residual income. residual income where you do the work and you get paid for it again and again and again and again. In order to have that residual income, though, you need retention and you need duplication. You need people inspired to do things with or without you. And a lot of that is just going to come from the type of people you attract. And a huge shout out to the leaders, the women on my team. I see many of you on here, Team on Fire. I just love you. And all of you on this call, I know because you're on this call, you made the choice to be here. You are an independent, strong business person, right? You're going to do the work with or without. But what the incentives do is offer an additional layer to inspire those people who are already working independently and even taking it to the next level. Because many of you know my journey most recently. Actually, I've been on the products for 10 years, you guys. And if you feel like you've had a slow start, let me just share with you. I used the products for 6 years before starting to build. 4 years ago, I started to build this business. And last year, in the middle of our growth, we had some significant health challenges in our family. Specifically, my 5-year-old daughter was diagnosed with leukemia. Fast forward to today, she's in remission. She's still in treatment. But if you have been through any sort of a diagnosis like that, any sort of trauma, any sort of emergency in your family, you know it takes all your attention. And praise the Lord, thank God for Isagenix, the fact that I was already in it, that I'd created residual income, that I had the freedom to take time away from focusing on my build and focus on my daughter when she needed it most. And my business still grew. And I strongly believe that one of the reasons is because I had just launched our very first team trip promotion. So that during those months, my income actually grew. When my personal business went down, my personal enrollments went down, my personal rank advancements went down, my team was growing and my income was growing because of these incentives. Okay, so there's many, many reasons, and I wanted to share that with you so you'll be motivated. And I have more, if you're more, like I'm an engineer by education, so I have a few numbers, not too detailed, it's not going to overwhelm, but I'm going to share numbers in a bit. But first of all, here are some whys to doing incentives. And this can be incentives like money and cash and prizes, or especially money, like trips and experiences and photo shoots and things like that. But it builds camaraderie within your team. It builds camaraderie and team spirit, especially if it's an experience altogether. But even if not, if you have a group of people who are working together within our team, or one team community in Isagenix is amazing. You get people bonding together to go to these things. It helps you exercise your abundance mindset. Right? It helps you not only want to achieve executive, but get there. It helps you not only want to achieve 3-star, but get there. Not only want to get 5-star, but get there with the full expectation, right? An abundance mindset is so much easier here than it is in many other compensation plans, but it's still not automatically, you've got to do it. And so by putting yourself out there a little bit, through these incentives, it assists you in that abundance mindset. I love this quote by Steve Labate, who is Lisa DeMayo's brother and another millionaire in Isagenix. He says, "You can't create abundance with a closed fist." This is one way to practice. He's referring specifically to personal development and events, and this also, I think, applies in this case. Another reason to do this is that it gives your team a sense of achievement. That's one thing that I experienced in achieving the President's Quest at the time. I never even knew I was in the running until the very end. In my mind, that was a big trip to big leaders. I wasn't even in the running. So in the last few months when I found out I was in the running and then I actually won, it was, of course, a huge honor, but it was huge validation to what I was already doing. And that's what you have the opportunity to give to your team. Because even for some of them, like me, the company promotions seem like such a big deal, so far off. There's no way I could do that. But if you narrow it down, you just do it within your team, it seems a lot more attainable. And instead of feeling like they're just doing the work and nothing's happening, because we've all been there, right? You have the opportunity in offering an incentive to a small group that they can achieve something very significant and worthwhile, okay? It's also a way to practice gratitude. Obviously, if you have achieved anything in this business, it's because you have an awesome team, and this is a way to pour back into them and show your abundance and your gratitude. Of course, it's just fun. It's fun to give fun things. It's fun to go places. It's fun to do experiences together. And here's another reason why to do it, another kind of fun, practical benefit. The social media marketing is so fun. Like when people are posting, they went up in a hot air balloon, they had dinner with the CEO, they went to Aruba to the beach. Like people start to wonder what's up. So the marketing is great. And also, I'll have to tell you, in one of the promotions that I do with my team is a Pandora bracelet. Right. So when they achieve executive, they get a bracelet, this orange, we're Team on Fire. So this is our flame bead. And each time like somebody rank advancements or we go to one of our trips or they achieve something, I am back at Pandora. And when I tell them, hey, I'm buying, they're like, what are you buying this for? Oh, it's, you know, an incentive for my team. I'm taking them to Aruba. They're like, oh, I want to do what you do. Like you can. I have so many prospects from there. I've enrolled at least one. So when you are talking about promotions on social media or in person, it's a recruiting tool. Okay. Let's talk the numbers a little bit, because I know some of you are thinking, gosh, like I feel like I'm hardly making anything. How can I give something back to my team? Well, I want to share with you a brilliant formula that Hilari uses, and she has shared with me, and I've learned even from other leaders separately that, you know, she shared it with them, and a lot of top leaders in our company have adopted this from Hilari, and that is that you live off of your residual income, the cycles and the PIBs. And then you save up the extra bonuses, the double PIBs, anything in addition to residual to pour back into your team. And I think this is brilliant because even just starting off, you have the opportunity to make, you know, a few $100s in double PIBs and bonuses. And then eventually you get into, you know, director, you get the director pool bonuses, any crystal bonuses that you've earned. Even this month, they have the $250 bonus in the One Sweet Summer. You could choose to pour that back into your team. So you could start and just plan to pour it back into your team. And I haven't held strictly to that, but roughly that's where it is. My husband, Element, is more the budget person, so he could tell you exactly, but I stick roughly to that as well. Okay, so use your bonuses. And up front, it's going to be less, and as you continue to grow, it's going to be more, which is perfect. That's as it should be. So start where you are with that. And here's a way to look at the money. And where the different types of promotions that can give you different benefits, and compared to just taking the money and investing it and buying products. Because I know if you've run for a goal, you've probably been there, right? I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but this happens like you get close to, say, you know, 2-star, and it's a bonus and you're one cycle away. Or you just buy products for yourself, 900 BV, for example, and cycle again. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're buying products, like we're a family of 5. That's not really too much of a stretch for us in order to order that much BV. But for some of you it is. But if you think about it, you get to that spot and you're willing to spend like $1,200 for products to invest in your business to get the rank advancement or the bonuses or whatever it is, right? And there's a time and place for that. That's perfect. But you know, your result of that $1,200 investment is one additional cycle, $54 in residual income. And maybe a bonus if you're hitting a level, right? Which is great, that's fine, but it's not much return. Let's compare that. If you're willing to spend that $1,200 in investing in your business, what if you offered that to, say, like a free shipping promotion to people who are already in your team? You're like, hey, if you're already in my team and you ordered 150 BV, maybe I'll reimburse $25 for shipping or whatever. So that is another idea. It would go a little bit further. So in this example, that $1,200 would be able to pay about 48 people that reimbursement. And if all of those were 150 BV orders, that would give you about 8 additional cycles, right? It's more than one in the previous example, but it's like, $430 in return. So you don't quite get your money back. But again, there's a time and place for that if you're reaching for a promotion and if there's other bonuses involved. Now here, I want you to look at this. What if you're still willing to invest that same amount of money? It might be $1,200, it might be half of that, it might be a fourth of that, whatever your number is. But let's say you take that number and instead of spending it just in products or just in reimbursing people, what if you took it and ran a long-term incentive? And I mean like 3 months. And you decided to treat 6 people to a $200 experience. What do you think your payoff is going to be if over the span of about 3 months you have an entire team, or at least your runners, working for a goal? You're spending the same amount of money investing in your team instead of a 1-day product event or a 1 week where you happen to cycle more. You're going to increase your volume and your success of your team and motivate them and inspire them over a long period of time. And I have to tell you, there's a lot of factors that go into, our income, but I have to tell you, just glancing over my compensation history, a lot of my spikes, my peaks in income happened during the last month of a 3-month promotion, right? I ran my first one last year for going to Aruba. So April was huge last year. And then the other spike was when we actually went to Aruba and those posts were coming out. That was another spike. And then I did another long-term promotion leading up to NYKO. I did a hot air balloon ride, dinner with Travis Ogden, and a photo shoot, right? So it was a 3-month long promotion. Again, a spike at the end when everyone's racing for the end, and also when the experience happened. That's going to be a huge payoff in your business. I mean, for me, those were 5-figure months. It was huge. So that compared to just investing it in products or reimbursing some, if you run a promotion like that, it's awesome. And a great example of that, think of the Ice a Body Challenge, right? What does the Ice a Body Challenge give you after 16 weeks? $200 in free products. How many people does that inspire just to finish it, right? They didn't have to get $200 in a week. Sometimes we feel like we have to give everything in order to motivate people. $200 over 4 months inspires people to finish their Ice a Body Challenge, right? What would a similar experience, doesn't even have to be that big, do for your team if it's over a time? Okay, so So those are the reasons why, and that's the budget and the money. And you might be thinking now, as I was when I was about to run my first one, I'm like, what if this doesn't work? Like, what if I put out this trip and I reserve this suite? And here's a note how I did that. So it didn't make sense to pay for every person and a guest and a room and their flight. But here's what I did. I have a timeshare in Aruba that fits 8 people. So I promoted a girls' weekend, right? And still I'm thinking, well, I'm not paying for flight. They still have to fly there. Are they really going to be inspired to do it? I really thought I would have a few people who were already working just happen to fall in and win, and then probably nobody would want to go. Guys, I was so wrong. Everybody loved it so much that this year we're going back. They asked that we max out the suite. And I'm going to share with you specifically their feedback a little bit later. So some promotions you pick, it could have, there's a risk. So they might not go for it. But that's one reason to pick something fun for you, is because you'll have fun doing it anyway. Okay, so here are some different things, and I encourage you to just experiment with things. My number one rule is it has to be something that's fun and inspiring to me that I can get excited about. Because honestly, I wasn't even inspired by my own $1, $2 jewelry that I was offering in my other business, right? I offer things that I'm excited. I go to Italy and I shop, or I invest a little bit more perhaps, but it's things that I'm really excited about and I'm excited to give and experiences. Okay, so these are things that you could do. One is simply the cash option. It could be cash as a reimbursement for an order. It could be for enrollment. It could be for matching the crystal. Another thing I learned on President's Quest that some leaders do, and this, you might not be this level yet, but when you get to executive and higher, you may offer to your team a crystal reset, like your own crystal reset, right? You give them, people who are past their crystal bonuses, they can do that. So we've done that in our team. It's great. You give products. People love products. Just do a random drawings. These are fun, just randomly if you have a team page, just say, comment on this, show me a picture of the shake you're drinking today, and I'll do a drawing for a box of e-shots. People love that kind of stuff. You can do simple stuff like that anytime, right? Even with raspberry cheesecake tomorrow, you could do something in your page. I might even do this where, post below a screenshot after you've bought your shakes, and I'll do a drawing for a free canister tomorrow, something to just get some camaraderie going, right? There's so many things you can do with products. You can do appetizers at your team gathering. You know, whenever I go out with my team, occasionally I'll pay for the dinner, but like I don't want my team to have that expectation that they have to pay for everyone's meal and their team. But I found a good balance, and a great thing that my team has duplicated is that when I'm out with my team, I like to pay for appetizers for the table. Right? And then each person pays for their own. And that's what I found, you know, leaders who are still growing, you know, it doesn't make sense for them either to pay for the table. They will duplicate that and get appetizers for their team. Transformation challenges. We just finished one. I actually did a survey in my Facebook page. You can do this too. I want to know what motivates you. Do you want cash? Do you want prizes? Do you want product? Right? Number one answer was cash. So we just finished a 30-day challenge last night on our team call. We announced the top 3 winners, and they're getting cash prizes. So you can do that. Another promotion you can do is something to give back. Each year we do a 30-day challenge in November where it's a Make-A-Wish promotion. And so we encourage everyone over 30 days to track their weight loss. How many pounds did I lose? And I donate $1 per pound lost to Make-A-Wish. So that's another way you could incentivize yourself and your team. You could go on a limo ride. You know, I would encourage you to do a lot of the stuff that coordinates with an event, like with celebration coming up, with an ICU, with a UIA, limo ride to dinner, a hot air balloon ride, photo shoot, which is great because then they can use those images on social media. You know, I showed you the Pandora charm. So every time they get 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, they earn a trip, something from me, they get an extra charm. But they have to be executive to get the bracelet, right? So I tell them if they have the charms but not the bracelet yet, that it's time. Things like that. Event tickets, that's another good one. You know, whenever we get back from an event, one thing we like to do is if the event tickets are available for the next event, we'll say, everybody buy your ticket, you know, this week, and from everyone who's bought it, we'll put your name in a drawing, and you'll get a choice of like cash or a second ticket, or they'll get a choice, right? So event tickets are another great thing. Just a heartfelt note. So heartfelt note is great anytime. People love that. And other things that I haven't used as much, but I've heard of, you know, Amazon gift cards, Starbucks gift cards, flowers. With whatever budget, you can find something to promote. But I want to really encourage you to consider doing some sort of like experience together. It could be a trip to the spa. It could be something local to you. It could be just like a dinner out together at an event that you're already at. It could be going out to a show. Like, start to plan your budget and what you can do with it. Okay, so I want to share with you with my team. Before I was doing this training, I knew I was doing it, I sent them some questions of the people who have earned, and I wanted to know a few things. You know, first I shared with you, I had that fear of, you know, what if they don't go for it? What if they're just working? So I wanted to know, like, when the promotion was announced, did you just keep working and you kind of fell into it, or did you set your intention, or what was the result? Okay, so that was the first question. And this is what I got. The people who responded, there were 2 people who responded, you know what, I wasn't really working extra for it. It just fell into my lap from the work that I was doing, right? And that's great. That's what, in fact, one of them even didn't go to one of them. That's so fine. You know, that's great. If it's not incentivizing to them, it's okay. You can't do an incentive that's incentivizing to every person. But from these 2 people, you know, they each did go on at least one incentive trip. There were tangible benefits that they experienced from going that I'll share with you. One shared that when she got back and she started posting pictures, she had more enrollments from that trip. So it turned into a tangible benefit for my business, obviously, as well. The other one was when I did the hot air balloon ride, that was a day after NYKO. And one of the girls who kind of fell into that as a winner and wasn't really working for it, she wasn't planning to go to NYKO at all. But because she won the hot air balloon ride, she went to the event. And that's a win. That's a huge win, okay? But that's a 2. Of the other ones, I also had 2 people who, when it was announced, they decided they were going, right? And we love that. I had one girl who didn't have her passport when I announced Aruba last year. On day 1, she went out, she got her passport, she claimed it, and she got there, right? So we love that. So we know that that's an addition that's worth the investment because it's inspiring people. The majority of people, and this is also spectacular, the majority of people found that they were just in their normal way of working. But then when the leaderboards would come out every week, and they were incentivized by enrollments and by rank advancements, as the numbers came in, and I would post every week the rankings, and the people who found themselves in the running started to get inspired and they worked harder. These were the specific things that they said that they were doing in addition to what they normally would because of the incentive. And you think about this and think about if this would be beneficial if your team members were doing this on top of what they would do normally. They were more intentional daily, they said. Enrollments were up. Cycles were up. They rank advanced. From Aruba last year, everyone who went was either already executive, became an executive during qualification, or became an executive in the months following the trip, right? Another thing that was added that they wouldn't have done otherwise is they collaborated with other people who were also going for it within the team with healthy competition that inspired them to go bigger. They were more consistent. They did more follow-up. They said they were more creative in making it happen. And because there was no room for excuses, they kept their head in the game because they were focused on this goal, right? Would you love for your team members to be saying that above and beyond what they're doing already? That's the power of these incentives. I also asked them, what was the most motivating part for you? Was it the destination? Was it the experience? Was it hanging out with the others? Was it just being a leader you felt like you needed to go? Was it the sense of recognition? What was it? And for most of them, it was the travel inspired them. They all love to travel. And the other part was that it was a bonding experience. They wanted to spend time and collaborate with the other leaders on our team. And that is a really powerful part of these experiences. And then I asked, what about after? What about after the experience, after the trip, after the photo shoot, after, how did it impact your business? You guys, this was the most powerful part. So if you're Team on Fire, I see a few of you. Thank you for those of you who responded already. This is what they said from going on to these incentive trips. They dream bigger. They grew as an individual. They said this was the tipping point to opening my eyes to this opportunity. Is that not beautiful? It solidified my self-belief as a leader. It solidified my belief in the company. It gave me 100% confidence in sharing. You guys, imagine your team saying that. That's the power that you have when you consider giving a promotion, when recognizing your team with these incentives, okay? So I want to share just a little bit with how to do it. We're almost done, and then I'll gladly open it up for questions. And yeah, I see some questions. Feel free to type those questions, and I'll get to those in just a second. So when you decide to do a promotion, whether it's a month or a week or just a drawing or a day, just decide what you're going to do. What are you trying to promote? What are you trying to encourage? Are you trying to encourage volume? Are you trying to encourage rank advancements, or just the all-over activity? Excuse me. And then after you decide that, decide on the prize. Use the budget formula we talked about earlier. Decide what is it that you're open to giving away. I would choose something that is simple to track. You don't want it to be complicated. So for example, instead of something you have to tally or read and judge, which takes more time, if you do those, limit it. Do something that it's just a simple drawing, or that's something that is already in the reports. For example, if you want to do a drawing among everyone who is enrolled in the ISABODY Challenge, personally enrolled, at least you have a report for that. Do something that is already simple. Or also, I believe this is available to everyone. I have not received an answer yet on if you have to have a certain rank, but if you do one of the long-term incentives, you can request from a corporate that they will track for you a custom contest for your entire downline or your left leg or your right leg. And Rashida Wiley is the one at corporate to contact for that. And there is a custom contest form, and you just select which categories you want to be tracked, and they'll send you that each day. If you have a larger team, I highly recommend that. If you have a smaller team, then it's easier to keep track on your own. And then, of course, lead the way. Be doing the activity yourself that you are promoting. And then run training calls. So instead of just putting it out there and expecting them to do it, also do promotion training calls. In fact, we are promoting highly Hilary's Rise Up retreat coming up this fall. And so we have a Tuesday night team training Zoom, just like this, but we have named that Zoom the Get to Rise Up training Zoom, because that is our focus. Before it was Rise Up, it was a championship challenge, right? Get to the championship challenge training Zoom. So you can refer to your training as the next promotion that you are building to, right? That is super, super fun. So I'm going to go to questions next, but I just encourage you, choose something that excites you, choose something that's fun. Start wherever your budget is. Do something that makes sense for you. Don't be afraid to pour into your team, because like I shared, it goes so much further into your team than just trying to pull and do it yourself. If you inspire your team, that's how you build leverage and duplication in your team. And that helps you to think like the position that you are going to. All right. Thanks, you guys. Let me go over here. I see a question asking for an example of what the requirements are for the 3-month challenge. Thank you. And that's from Gail. So Gail, whenever I promote these 3-month challenges, I typically will give points for personal enrollments, and there's more points depending on the BV volume. And this is something that corporate tracks for me. I fill out that custom contest form, and I choose for them to track personal enrollments, and then also they track points on personal rank advancements. So if they themselves become consultant, they get points, or if they're personally enrolled, become consultant, they get points. If they become executive, they get points. And also if they're personally enrolled, achieves executive, they get points for that. Okay. And then also you can select to do events so that they will track events, but that's something that I add manually because the form isn't really clear on it. So I incentivize them to purchase their ticket for upcoming events, and I will give them points for that. So that part has been manual when I've included that as well. So I hope that answered your question, Gail. Thanks so much for that. Any other questions, you guys? Love this. This is so fun. Feel free to unmute if you'd like, or just type it in. I see one. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Gail. You're so welcome. Okay. Feel free to type if you are, or again, my name is Karla Italiano. It says Hilari in the box. That's just because I'm logged into her account. It's Karla with a K, Italiano. I think I'm in all the groups on Facebook, so feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions. If you saw the post promoting this, you saw some of the pictures of the promotions that we've done over the last year in the limo, on the beach in Aruba, in the hot air balloon with Travis Ogden for dinner, and some of the jewelry gifts that I've given, and the photo shoot, things like that. So it's so much fun. And I encourage you to consider what you can give back to your team, because truly and honestly, that is what duplicates. It'll pay you back so much more than anywhere else that you can invest your money. All right. Thank you guys for your time tonight. So appreciate it. You're so welcome. I see thank yous in the messages, and Mouse, thank you. I received that. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. You guys, thanks so much. Have a great night and awesome week. Raspberry cheesecake is tomorrow. Woo!
Thanks, Karla.
Thanks so much, Carrie. Awesome training last week.
Oh, this was awesome. Thank you. Great stuff.
Great. Thank you. Thanks.